we waited for the door to come and to open and just to be shot. You just know you're going to die and you're waiting for it and you're just petrified. My name is Anat, and I'm the only known British survivor of the October 7th massacre who lives in the UK. The first thing I recall was waking up from a massive, massive sound of bombs and rockets. There was like a moment where suddenly things shifted and we started to feel it in our bodies. We spoke to my mum and dad and we told them to make sure that they're in the mamad. Before that, it went from the only threat is the bombs and we're in a safety room. As long as we're sitting in the safety room, we're quite relaxed. We just became like a huddled ball on the floor. The shooting was immense. It was relentless. It was automatic gunshots. We felt the walls were shaking, the floor was shaking, and we just huddled together, held each other. At that point, we kind of lost control of our bodily fluids because it just happens. It's just like the fear was so intense, and we just sat there waiting to be shot. We had a message on one of our phones from the carer, a text message saying they shot Abba. And the only thing that we know for certain, the only thing that separated myself, my son, my mum and my sister on that day from being dead and murdered in the same way as my father was some stroke of luck or miracle. In the chaotic moment, the terrorists decided to just move along and do other damage for other members of the community. We went in the safe room at 6:30 in the morning. My father was shot, we know, around 10:30 in the morning. We were eventually rescued by the IDF soldiers at 6:30 in the evening. So we were there in the mamad, and not being able to come out in conditions of absolute intense fear for 12 hours. Any kind of movement would create a noise that could threaten our life. The mind kept saying, this is not real, this is not happening. It's something from some kind of dystopian life. For hours, we sat in puddles of wee. We didn't eat, we didn't drink, we could hardly breathe. We were frightened and we couldn't move, and we kept texting, send someone, send someone, send someone. That's all we could think of. When we were evacuated, eventually, it was a really long, there were things everywhere, you know. It was a scene of dystopia. It was a scene of chaos. There were bodies which I didn't want to look at. It was just like something that you imagine in the movies. I was abandoned by the British government at a time of total vulnerability. The British government is allowing what's going on ever since in demonstrations and in anti-Semitism, running riots, students in universities suffering, Jewish students, communities affected every day since, and that's been allowed to happen. To me, I still live under threat. I cannot feel safe in a country that thinks that normalizes this kind of behavior. I had no recognition. I came back in here expected to the UK, expected to be grateful that I survived and put that event behind me and just function in my everyday life. I didn't have any acknowledgement from the authorities, from the British government. It just was unbelievable to me. I think it's important that people read the October 7th report because it really did happen. It happened to me. I am a testament that it did happen and I survived it. I think bearing witness is the most important thing. 1,200 people were murdered in a few hours, massacred, butchered, burned, houses were burned, babies were killed, families were erased, people were taken to tunnels, petrified, held for 2.5 years. When 9/11 happened all those years ago, the whole world stood wherever they were and watched those towers collapse because they dared to watch and they were horrified, and everybody remember, it's etched in a collective memory of everybody in the world. It cannot be that the 7th of October massacre wouldn't have the same impact on human beings